We're live here today on the 251 Connection. So, the 251 Connection is connecting community leaders and business leaders to their audience here in Baldwin County and Mobile in the 251 area. If you know of a business owner or a community leader of an organization that would like to reach an audience, send them our way. And please watch, share, like, comment on our videos. Let us know you're out there watching. So today I have Jim Griffiths, who is the owner of Legal Shield, and he is the president of Central Baldwin Networking, which is a group I'm also a part of. He was raised here in Baldwin County, Foley area. He went to Foley High School, and he also went to Faulkner, so he is definitely well versed in our school system here in the Baldwin County area. Also, his business covers Alabama, Mississippi, and Florida, so pretty much the entire Gulf Coast. So without further ado, Jim?
Well, thank you, Eric. That's a great introduction, although I don't own Legal Shield. That would be quite a feat. Legal Shield is one of those companies that you run up on. As a small business owner all my life, I've never knew of anything like Legal Shield, and somebody brought it into me and showed me, and it was like, "Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
you can have that."
Right.
And I used to farm when I first got out of high school and got married, and then in the early '80s, that I couldn't see down that proverbial tunnel where there was any money.
Sure, absolutely, yeah.
So I live, and my brother, still farms, and the Lord please rest his soul. Has done good with it. He and his whole family, but it's more a way of life for him than it was for me. So
Absolutely.
So I moved on and got into the boat business because my dad built a boat on the farm back in the '60s.
Okay.
And it was so big that he decided, I need to turn this around and make it pay instead of it, costing so much money. So he started charter fishing in the middle '60s.
Oh wow!
And so we kind of already had our feet wet, so to speak. So the boat business really wasn't a stretch for me at all. And I wound up having a boatyard of all things. Nothing like scraping barnacles and renewing anti-fouling paint.
Yeah,
absolutely. It's not pretty, but it paid pretty good.
There you go. And where was that boatyard?
That was in Orange Beach.
Orange Beach. Perfect.
So that worked out great, and sold all that in 2005.
Okay.
And so obviously I'm not afraid of a little hard work, but started a truck accessory store with my two boys, and that was a lot of fun.
Okay.
But in 07, 08, it was just not a really great time to be a retailer of hardly anything.
Absolutely.
So that didn't work out so well, but nevertheless, persevered, and somebody showed me a Legal Shield in 2010, and it was like, well, I need to tell others about this.
Absolutely.
Because
and we've discussed
they obviously don't know.
Yeah, and we've discussed it. It is absolutely an amazing service, and I'll let you go ahead and talk about that.
Well, it gives you access to an attorney 24/7, from preventive law to estate planning, help with motor vehicle lawsuits. There's really nothing that you can't call them about and stump them, so to speak. But they'll write letters on your behalf.
Yeah.
And a letter to somebody's going to make a lot more impact if it comes from the law firm than it does from your Mickey Mouse stationery.
Absolutely.
So that was a big one for me, is for somebody just to write a letter on my behalf. Because being a small business guy, you've lost money, you've had people owe you money, and
That's right.
you try and get that collected, and that winds up going to one of your favorite attorneys in your file, and he puts it on his desk and it gets covered up, and so most of the time that money never gets collected.
Right. Absolutely.
Well, that's money you have to raise your prices to cover that gap, and so there you go. It's
it happens in small business. It is a it just kind of snowballs. If you miss a couple of customers paying you and things like that, it could snowball. As a small business owner, I can attest to that. And so Legal Shield is it kind of gives you, it's almost like a retainer. If you have a lawyer on retainer, this is the same thing at a hugely reduced cost, and the outcome and the benefit of having it outweighs the risk of not having it tremendously.
Yeah, and I could actually talk about it for days and tell you all kinds of fun stories and how different people have used it.
But give us a for instance of the way the service would work.
Well, a good for instance happened to me. DirecTV was charging me $35 for movies that I did not watch.
Okay.
And my wife said she didn't watch them, and we were the only two in the home for that month. And so I called DirecTV and got customer no service.
Absolutely.
We've all talked to those guys.
Sure.
And I said, I'm a Legal Shield member. I'll just fire this off to the attorneys. I emailed them what happened, and they sent a letter to DirecTV. And I thought it through initially.
Yeah.
But that letter from the attorneys went to DirecTV's legal department.
Okay.
And which I don't have access to.
Sure, they're gonna go from customer service rep to the customer service rep supervisor to. I mean, it's just you're never gonna get to the.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So I get a letter in the mail 10 days later. It says, "So sorry for the misunderstanding. Thank you for being a DirecTV customer," and that was taken off my bill.
Oh wow! And so it actually, it paid for itself just in that transaction.
I didn't do anything other than send an email to my attorneys.
There you go. And then on your larger scale transactions, it's the same, right? You're going to get the same service.
Absolutely the same. My friend had an insurance dispute, and it involved $70,000. But by having an attorney timely write a letter on his behalf, he collected that $70,000 instead of going through litigation.
Okay. Now let me ask you this. So the process, I'm in trouble. I have Legal Shield. I need to get something handled. Am I going to call you directly since you're the local, or how does that work?
Every state has a provider attorney.
Okay.
And we're lucky in Alabama. The provider attorney in Alabama is one of the top 5 law firms in the state. Now, another thing I didn't know initially, law firms are rated.
Okay.
And there's a company called Martindale Hubbell that rates law firms nationwide.
I didn't know that either. And I'm sure our audience didn't know that. I mean, wow. Okay.
And in Alabama, one of the top 5 law firms is the Legal Shield provider, the Anderson firm in Montgomery.
Yeah. It makes sense for them as well, though. It really does.
Yeah.
So okay.
Sure.
So moving on a little bit, so Central Baldwin Networking, it's a group that we're a part of. You're the president, and you actually are one of the founding members of the group. And so can you tell us a little bit about the Central Baldwin Networking? Central Baldwin
Networking is always been a passion of mine.
I mean, you lit up you're smiling. That's huge.
It's a lot of fun. You get to meet a lot of people, and you get to get and give referrals.
There you go.
And that's really the crux of the whole thing. We're a referral organization. I've been a member of a few different ones, and hopefully learned a few things to do, not to do type of thing.
Absolutely.
And boy, this one has really caught fire in the last 90 days, and we're really growing.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I want it to continue to grow, and as we grow, referrals will grow. With the right direction. And
that's right. I mean, so I'm a member of the group as well, and that's kind of me and Jim are business owners together. We're in the networking group together. We go to church together. So there's a lot of different ways that we interact. But I will say, having a business-to-business referral group, and especially Central Baldwin Networking, there's just a different feel about our group. It's hugely vital. I've gotten many referrals for my construction company as an agent in many different ways, and I have witnessed the referral roundtable that happens at Central Baldwin Networking, and I can say I'm proud to be a member, and it's a big deal. So if you're looking to join a group, come see us, come be our guest, and
absolutely,
it's Tuesdays at 8 a.m. every Tuesday at 8 a.m. unless there's something that we have an event that we do as a group and we decide on. So please come and join us there. So let's talk a little bit about you personally and your organization and your business. But why do you do what you do? Why would you become a small business owner? I know farming life wasn't for you and things. So, but why do you get up and say, I'm going to go and represent Legal Shield and do what I do?
Well, I learned through the years of having a boatyard or being a small business owner, period, Small business is quite a unique entity of itself. It's the backbone of this country. I still feel firmly that it's the backbone of this country. But the small business guy is hit with so many phantom costs that most people starting a new business don't have any idea.
Glad you brought that up. Oh my goodness.
And so it's kind of turned into my passion. So after my stint in Orange Beach and going through what I did with the truck accessory company, I became a big advocate, with the Chamber of Commerce.
Right.
And it was a great networking opportunity for me at the Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah.
I would volunteer for just about everything, and it grew to a point where I was literally, I think it was 2015, Volunteer of the Year. So
I didn't know that. That's it. Okay, great.
And that's actually a pretty big deal with South Baldwin Chamber of Commerce, and they've been instrumental in my growth, both in personal development and networking and small business development. And I've learned so much and so many things, avenues that I can lend my assistance to, and maybe put a shoulder to the wheel and help pull this along. It's pretty fun.
Yeah. Okay. Now, the path to success. Everybody has a different philosophy and things like that. Do you have, what does the path of success look like for you? If you're telling me I'm 1 year in construction, what would the path to success look like for you?
It kind of goes back to an old Zig Ziglar thing for me.
Okay.
If you've read any Zig Ziglar books, if you help enough people, it'll take care of yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that, that always sticks in the back of my mind. And I remember in other interviews that you've done with other community leaders at the 251 Connection, you've asked them what was one of their books that they like to read.
Oh yeah, I was saving that.
I know you're probably saving it, but what we're talking about kind of rolls right into that for me. One of my favorite books is Go for No.
Okay. I don't think I have not. The Who Moved My Cheese has been 2 weeks in a row. So this is a new book. It's called the
Go for No.
Go for No.
I don't recall the author, but the premise is simply the more no's you get, you'll wind up with more yeses in the end.
Okay, and because it creates resilience.
Yeah.
Being told no, and if you don't ask, you'll never get told yes.
Yeah.
Right?
If you don't ask, that's still a no.
Right. Absolutely.
So go for no, and whoever gets the most no's wins.
Absolutely. Okay. So sometimes in business you can get discouraged. I mean, yesterday was a rough day for me, and I think anybody that has been a small business owner or leader of an organization has had discouraging moments. Have you had anything that made you say, maybe sometimes this isn't for me?
Oh, there's always that day, but sometimes you can have that same feeling earlier in the day and wind up on top of things at the end of the day. So that's just the ebbs and flows, the lows and highs of being a small business owner. But there's always those kind of situations where there's somebody, you kind of feel like you got to keep your guard up. Somebody wants to take a shot at you.
Sure.
And a lot of times, if you hold yourself to a different standard, their shot doesn't matter.
Absolutely. And that's kind of just good business, being trustworthy and creating a name, especially in a small community like ours.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
Your word is everything to a lot of these people. So with the growth of Baldwin County, because we all know it's growing, there's people coming from everywhere. Is there anything that excites you or doesn't excite you about that?
Well, there's a lot of exciting things about Baldwin County.
Absolutely.
Because who doesn't want to promote their home? But there's also some downfalls. There's some leadership faux pas in Baldwin County that is they're not addressing. I guess I'm passionate about infrastructure. And infrastructure is always left on the back burner here. We don't have near the roads or near the implementation of roads or planning of roads that where we need to be. We're so far behind. It's really crazy. But and it's easy to send that road money somewhere else.
Absolutely.
And I feel like we're paying for the roads a lot of times every time we get gas. And so how come we don't have better or more roads? And of course, now is the big Mobile River Bridge, and that is so critical and important to growth in this area.
Yes, it is.
I'm not an advocate of making that a toll bridge.
Right. Yep, and I've heard that. I know you mentioned that, and I know you were at a meeting about that. So, and I can't imagine, just.
Yeah, I've talked to our local politicians about that, and they know. Unfortunately, they know my position on that. And but good things can come from that if we stay on top of it as a community.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they need to hear from more than just Jim.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
They really do. And I'm passionate. We've got some really great public servants out there that they need to hear from us.
Well, and the cool thing about the 251 Connection is this is a platform for them to directly talk about some of those things.
It is.
I mean, it's more for getting to know the business owners and organization leaders, but it's for them, open forum to them to talk directly to people they're not connecting with, or that they get on a campaign trail and they have to focus on the issue at hand. Okay, and that's they can't open up and talk. So this provides that, and so I'm glad that you said that. So if you have any of the commissioners or anything like that you'd like to see on here, send them our way. Tell them to like, share, and comment. All right, so we talked about the organizations that you're part of, the CBN. So if you had one message to deliver to our audience today about Jim Griffiths or about the bit or whatever message you want to put out there, what would it be?
Well, that could be a pretty lengthy topic. I'll try my best to keep it short.
All right.
But here's the thing. In my passion in small business, I see so often people are really good at a few things. Yeah. I mean, they're really good.
Right.
But there's a few things they're missing.
Okay.
And some of those things they're missing is their team. When I say their team, you being a small businessman, and you and I have talked about this. We've volleyed it back and forth a few times, but you need an accountant on your side.
Sure. And
that understands you not only personally but professionally. Right. You need a financial person, absolutely, a banker on your side, a banker you can call and will talk to you at least on a first name basis.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I realize gone are the days where you call over there and said, hey Fred, I want to borrow you $100,000, and he said, you're crazy.
Right.
I mean, those days are gone.
Yeah.
But I remember those days, and I remember how critical and important that was to building my business once upon a time. Because that same banker is liable to call back at 5:00 that afternoon. Said, well, just be in my office at 9 in the morning. I want to know more about what you're talking about.
There you go.
How important is that?
Absolutely, and it makes a difference.
Yeah, so build yourself a team, because you're not an expert in all areas of life.
Yeah.
But if you want to be a better small businessman, surround yourself with those experts that has your back.
Absolutely, and there's you have to place a value on your time.
Absolutely.
So if you are trying to do everything, you're actually going to take away what you're good at and the purpose and focus of your business. So there are people that you mentioned that can do those things for you, so you can focus on what you're good at in the business. Okay, so we're gonna wrap this up. I have some ending questions that I ask all our guests, so I know everybody's kind of wanting to hear these. So your favorite business book?
Please Go for No.
Go for No, and I'm gonna definitely check that out. I love reading business books. Favorite CEO or leader?
Well, there's a lady, Apple hired her a couple of years ago. Prior to that, she was with that company that makes London Fog. I perceive it as London Fog trench coats, but it's a European company. Okay. And I'm trying to think of her name, and her name escapes me because of the situation probably. But one thing that she said that really stuck out to me was at a Chick-fil-A leader cast, and she was one of the featured speakers. And she says, build your business, especially your bigger business, with wisdom to youth. Okay. Because the youth has the ideas and the vitality to implement, and all those wild or crazy or new ideas can be tempered with wisdom from the older people.
Right.
Now that I'm older, I certainly see value in wisdom.
Absolutely.
But tempering great ideas with wisdom, but yet still working together, just seems like a really winning formula.
There you go. All right, and so Do you have a college team that you follow?
Well, naturally, I'm an Auburn guy.
I didn't know that.
My oldest son is a staff engineer at Auburn, student services engineer on campus.
Wow! So I've had 2 Auburn fans on here out of 3 so far, and a Tennessee fan. But that's okay. No, that's great. And you know what? Auburn has phenomenal school. I mean, not talking football,
obviously.
But just but. I mean, really, we have some great schools here in Alabama.
Yeah, we do.
And Auburn is definitely one of them. Hobbies.
Well, a lot of this surprises people sometimes because I'm not doing it now, but my hobby for the last 20 years has been drag racing.
Yeah, and I've heard you say it at the group, and that surprises people. Yeah. But you were actually pretty good.
I have an aptitude for that.
Okay.
And, I enjoyed it. It was really fun.
Very, very interesting. Okay, favorite food?
Oh, I don't know. You can look at me and tell I don't turn many foods away, but it's probably seafood. Yeah.
Seafood? Yeah. All right, that's two weeks in a row we've had seafood. All right, and then favorite place to go in Baldwin County? And that doesn't have to be a restaurant, I know, but just anywhere.
Most anywhere on the water.
Yeah.
Because I'm still a water guy. I don't have a boat anymore, but I still like around the water.
And I've heard this, and people say this: the best day of a person's life is the day they buy their boat and the day they get rid of the boat.
They sell it.
Yeah.
That's right.
Okay. All right. So that stands true. Well, Jim, I really appreciate you coming on. I'm sure our audience appreciates it. I hope you guys like, share, and watch this interview. And how can they reach out to you or get in touch with you if they have any questions? I mean, you can obviously comment on here, but also
comment here. Give me a call at 251-747-1553. You can reach me anytime. And thanks a million. Chris, you're doing a fantastic job, and I know this is really going to grow.
Thank you. All right, so the 251 Connection, we're connecting the community leaders and business leaders with people in the community, connecting the audience, and letting you know who's running things around here and who's doing what in the community. Next week, our guest will be Rachel Romash she is the owner of Elite Real Estate Solutions. She's also my broker and a personal friend, and she's doing a lot of good things. So tune in. I look forward to the interview with her. And again, thank you for watching.